Okay, so we've got this new podcast, The Backbench, and we're going to try to figure out what it's all about.
Sounds good, yeah.
So the name itself is interesting. The backbench kind of evokes a sense of being outside the mainstream.
Right, yeah, like a little rebellious, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think they're going for with that?
Well, I think it's definitely deliberate. They're trying to tap into that image of the backbencher, someone who's not afraid to speak their mind, even if it ruffles a few feathers.
Right.
It definitely suggests they're aiming for raw, unfiltered conversations, and their tagline actually reinforces that, where real talk sits at the back, but the conversation always takes the front seat.
Catchy tagline for sure.
Yeah, it is, but the question is, can they actually deliver substance along with that rawness?
Yeah, that's the big question, and that's what we're here to figure out.
Exactly.
And speaking of voices, let's talk about the host, Backbencher Wiseman.
Okay.
He's described as observant, raw, and fearless. So what kind of real talk do you think someone like that might bring to the table?
Well, they emphasize no scripts, no sugarcoating, so it seems like they're going for authenticity.
Yeah.
Letting the conversations unfold organically.
Right.
So Wiseman's personality is going to be really key here. Can he draw out genuine insights from guests, or will it just be all about shock value?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the tightrope walk with this kind of approach.
Right.
You got to find that balance.
Exactly. So let's dive into the topics they're planning to tackle. It's a pretty wide range, everything from trending news to evergreen debates, controversial opinions to personal stories, even social experiments.
It's a very interesting mix. It's like they're trying to cover it all, timely hot takes, but also deeper dives into these enduring themes that never really go away.
Right.
But that breadth could also be a challenge. Can they actually give each topic the attention it deserves, or will it all just feel very superficial?
That's a great point, because they're also hitting on those hot button topics that get people riled up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're talking unpopular opinions, conspiracy theories, the hustle culture grind, the wild world of modern dating, even some pop culture drama thrown in for good measure.
Wow, they really aren't shying away from anything, are they?
Seems like they're going for it all.
It's definitely a bold move, I'll give them, that, these topics have the potential to spark real debate and get people thinking differently.
Right.
But it could also easily devolve into sensationalism if it's not handled carefully.
Right, yeah.
A lot will depend on how Wiseman moderates those discussions,
Yeah.
Can he keep things engaging and insightful without resorting to just cheap shots?
That's the key, isn't it?
Exactly.
Now they even have a category called personal development with a twist, which I found really interesting.
Oh yeah, that one caught my eye too.
So how do you think they'll approach that, given their whole raw and real focus?
Well, personal development is often associated with a very polished, almost aspirational tone, right?
Yeah, like everything's perfect.
Exactly. So Wiseman's approach could really shake things up a bit.
I can see that.
Imagine unfiltered conversations about failure, vulnerability, and the messy realities of self-improvement. It could be refreshing to hear that side of things.
Yeah, definitely.
But it also requires a delicate touch, to avoid being insensitive or dismissive.
Right. It's a fine line to walk.
Exactly.
And it looks like they're really encouraging listeners to join the conversation too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
DMs, comments, polls, even sharing their own wild stories.
It's all about participation.
Yeah. It seems like they're really trying to build a community around the podcast.
Which makes sense given their slogan, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah.
You could create this sense of shared experience,
right,
and make the conversations even more dynamic. But managing that level of interaction, while still maintaining some kind of quality and focus, that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. It's a tough balance.
It is.
So putting it all together, it sounds like The Backbench has the potential to be a really unique and engaging podcast.
I think so too.
But can it live up to its promise?
Well, the ingredients are all there, charismatic host, diverse range of topics, and a commitment to raw, unfiltered conversations.
Great.
But the success of The Backbench is really going to hinge on how they execute it all.
Yeah.
Can Wiseman bring depth and nuance to these potentially chaotic discussions?
Right.
Will they foster genuine insight or simply chase controversy?
Big questions.
Only time will tell.
Well said. So if you're looking for a podcast that's different from the usual polished fare, The Backbench is definitely worth checking out. It might just surprise you.
And here's something to consider. Do you think this focus on raw and unfiltered conversations is ultimately a good thing for the podcasting landscape?
It's a good question.
Could it lead to more authentic and thought-provoking content? Or will it simply amplify the loudest voices?
Yeah,
It's a question worth pondering as you listen.
very interesting. Well, thanks for breaking it all down with me.
Of course, anytime.
And to all our listeners out there, be sure to check out the Backbench and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your take on it.
Until next time.